Welcome to the Baltics, three battle-weary countries caught between the rock of Europe and the hard place of Russia. For the best part of 1,000 years, this region has been ravaged, besieged and occupied by more invading armies than I've had hot dinners. Those invaders built a lot of railways. Here we go, party, party, party. But also destroyed them. The fact that they got a railway like this running at all in Latvia today is something of a minor miracle. So I want to find out if I can travel entirely by train from one end of the Baltics to the other. Wrong info, thank you for nothing. But in a region full of wartime secrets... So through that wall is a nuclear reactor?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it a thick wall? Have I bitten off more than I can chew?
I dreamt that I spent last night in a prison cell.
I'm starting my journey in the medieval town of Narva, in the far northeast corner of the Baltics. This is the mighty Narva River. This side is Estonia, and over there is Russia. But judging from all these battlements and castles and turrets all around me, I don't think they stayed on their side of the river too often. This place is one of the most fought-over towns in history. The Estonians probably still fear invasion at any moment to this day. Narva is also the starting point of the first Baltic Railway that was built in 1870. So the perfect place to start my railway adventure. At least, I hope it is. So this is Narva station. It's quaint. Quaint's the word. It's a bit of a tip is the best word. That's the ticket office, but basically it's shut. So I'll have to get a ticket on the train. This presumably here, bright, shiny, new-looking locomotive. It says Tallinn on the front, which is where I want to end up tonight. Ooh. It's rather nice, isn't it? Bit of aircon, nice comfy seats. Look at this. I think I would say this is probably, I think it is the nicest Estonian train I've ever been on. Rough. Cool. Over the next 6 days, I hope to travel about 1,000 miles by train across the three countries of the Baltics. In Estonia, I'm traveling the first Baltic Railway to the ice-free ports of Tallinn and Pisi, before heading south to the border. In Latvia, I'm exploring the narrow gauge network before heading to the capital, Riga. From there, I'm off for a nice weekend by the seaside, crossing over into Lithuania and following the trail of the original Viking traders to Vilnius, before I head for the border to complete my trans-Baltic railway adventure, east to west in just 6 days. Oh, the afternoon train to Tallinn, it's very busy. Next station is called Pisi, by the way. The other thing you notice, this train is incredibly spacious. Just look how much room I've got. That's because the Russian railways run on a bigger gauge than we have back in the UK, and that means they can basically run with much bigger trains, bigger locomotives. The line is Russian gauge because it was built to connect this region with St. Petersburg, the capital of the Russian Empire. The Russians wanted access to Baltic ports that stayed ice-free all year long. But they didn't actually build this railway. Strangely, it was some aristocratic Germans. In the 13th century, German crusaders and merchants arrived in this area and quickly set themselves up as the ruling nobility, and crucially befriended every conquering power for the next 700 years. So when the Russians came along wanting a railway, they saw a great business opportunity. The line opened on the 24th of October 1870, and the Baltic Germans, fiercely loyal to the Russian Empire, for decades got very, very rich shipping freight to and from the Baltic ports. One of those ports was Tallinn. It's got a reputation as one of the most beautifully preserved medieval cities anywhere in the world. It's also got a reputation for having more stag nights here than anywhere else in Europe, so it might not be as cultural as I'm hoping. With its fortified walls and ancient streets, Tallinn is a city built on the profits of Baltic German trade deals. And their entrepreneurial spirit lives on. This is a stunning setting. Most of these buildings still look authentically medieval, but appearances can be deceptive. Estonia is one of the most high-tech countries in the world. Skype began here. Estonia was the first country to adopt online voting. It's kind of Silicon Valley meets the Middle Ages. And the perfect place for a medieval feast. I'm starving. I could eat a, Oh, hello. Oh.
Here we go.
Smells nice. Yummy, yummy.
Yeah, yummy, yummy.
Do you have this in Estonian? Yummy, yummy?
Yummy, yummy? No, but
No,
we have
it
yum, yum.
means nam nam.
Yeah.
Oh, smells lovely.
So it's a bear.
What? Bear?
Yes, brown bear cooked over a fire with the rare spices. You like it?
It's very tasty, actually, but
Yeah?
if my kids are watching, I'm really sorry. I feel I've just eaten Paddington. Feeling full but slightly guilty, I head off for a quiet night's sleep. Right, 6:45 in the morning. I slept quite well, actually, considering I ate half a bear last night. Now, time to check if the first train of the day is already here. It's easy because it's there. My hotel room was right next to the railway all night. I'm up early to crack on with my attempt to cross the Baltics by train, which may not be as easy as you might think. It's all a bit thin on information. I need the 7:20 to Paldiski, wherever that is. 7:59 to Rispie, Ividu. Go to the information board. And it's the wrong information board. So all these trains, all these timings, all these places, absolute rubbish, made up, nonsense. Wrong info. Thank you for nothing. The trouble is all the trains are they're very nice, but they're all identical. Now, I think, I don't know. Yeah, hey look, Paldiski. Yeah, good, Paldiski. But given how much they like wrong info, no harm in double checking. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I know you're very busy, sorry. Are we going to Paldiski?
Yes.
Is the train okay? Was it broken? What happened?
This one was faulty.
All right.
The doors couldn't shut.
The doors wouldn't shut?
Yes, yes.
So that's quite dangerous.
Yes.
So this one's okay?
This one, yeah, should be, at least. The light is green, here we go. Диспетчер, доброе утро, 0507, проверка связи.
Какой тут добрый, когда уже тут электрично, уже не знаю как. Управление Эстонии пилу 25 минут.
Да, опоздание 25 минут.
It's you, the driver. It's all your fault. This morning I'm going to visit Estonia's second ice-free port. I'm starting to see quite a bit of freight now and all sorts of very industrial-looking things both sides of the track. I'm told it's a very different place to Tallinn, and for much of the last century was shrouded in secrecy. We're here.
Yes, we are.
Very smooth.
Yeah.
This is the original railway station built in 1870 by the Baltic Germans, and it's one of the best preserved in the whole of the Baltic. It's kind of Wild West, isn't it? You can imagine sort of high noon, Gary Cooper waiting here for the midday train. The Russians went to an awful lot of trouble to take control of this place. Its deep, sheltered and ice-free harbour was ideal for both cargo ships and their navy. The arrival of the railway made Paldiski one of the most important ports in the whole of the Russian Empire. After World War II, the Soviet Union turned the entire town into a top-secret military base. The naturally deep harbour was perfect for submarines, and during the Cold War, Paldiski was the biggest nuclear submarine training facility in the whole of the USSR, with not one but 2 nuclear reactors. And I've got permission to go and take a closer look, although hopefully not too close. So this is it, this is the gate. Nuclear Submarine Training Centre. Something about that word nuclear makes me kind of spooked. Meeting me is the reassuringly titled Radiation Protection Advisor, Valery Badiakonov. Hey, Valery.
Yes.
How are you? I'm Chris.
Chris? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
How are
yeah,
you?
yeah. Glad to meet you.
I'm kind of nervous. I've never been inside a nuclear base before.
Welcome to hell. That's my joke.
Oh, yes, very. Oh, how I laugh.
Yes, in fact, it will be a little bit dangerous.
A little bit.
But I
dangerous.
would say the small amount of radiation is very good for men.
Very good for men?
Yes.
No, it's not.
For men activity. Yes.
What activity?
With women.
What?
Yeah, right.
I don't go out with radioactive women. What are you talking about?
No. You will be active.
Oh,
no
I'm radioactive. Great.
Yes, let's go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're the least reassuring person I've ever met. As we're going in, it's going up.
Oh, please,
Oh, good.
come in.
Oh well, in we go. So what's through that wall?
Reactor compartment with reactor. That's absolutely.
Hang on. So through that wall is a nuclear reactor.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it a thick wall?
No, it's not too big. Please. You can see it's the reactor compartment of submarine.
That's amazing. So this is a cross-section of a submarine, isn't it?
Yes. It's a cross-section of Soviet submarine with a reactor inside. For training a crew of submariners.
And you were a submariner yourself?
Yes. Yeah, I used submarine like this when I was young, end of the 70s.
Yeah?
Yes.
So when they said to you as a young man you were going into a nuclear submarine, were you scared?
No.
When the base was operational, hundreds of Soviet submariners would have passed through Paldiski as they prepared for life under the waves. Is the nuclear reactor still active inside there?
Yes, of course. It's a little bit dangerous now.
It's a little bit dangerous now.
Yes.
Do you mind if we go?
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, please.
I'm not a wimp. I did like Valery. He was a bit gung-ho, but back in something like the 60s, this place would have been absolutely top secret. Now, some bloke like me can just pop in, have a look round and pop out again as fast as you possibly can. Time to move on. Leaving the coast, I'm heading to Latvia. Oh, there's a surprise, another bright orange train, just like the last bright orange train. This one only stops for 60 seconds. There's no mucking about. I've got a 100-mile journey through the forests to the border town of Valga. I think because it borders Russia, I expected Estonia to be very mountainous and kind of wild, but actually it's really flat. It's a bit like travelling through Sussex. This was the second major line to be built in Estonia, and it's taking me to a little town with quite a tale to tell. So this is Valga. Very big station. 100 years ago, this place was transformed by the arrival of the railways. Wow, look at this. This is the last stop we make in Estonia. It's only a little town, and yet look at this place. Absolutely spotless, great tall ceilings. It's really very impressive. In the early 20th century, at the intersection of 5 main lines, Valga became an important railway hub. But that success came at a price. In 1918, in the aftermath of the Russian Revolution, Estonia and Latvia seized the opportunity to declare independence, which meant they needed a border. Mostly it was pretty straightforward because the towns along the route were either distinctly Estonian or distinctly Latvian, but Valk was very different. It was a very mixed population, and it was home to the most strategic and important railway station for miles around. With both countries claiming the town, tensions rose and some feared war. To solve the problem, good old Blighty stepped in. The British Commissioner for the Baltic States, a chap named Sir Stephen Tarrant, was brought in to decide where the border should be drawn. So did Sir Stephen choose a natural dividing line like the mighty River Pisi that flows right through the middle of the town? No. He chose this piddly little stream instead. So at this moment, my left foot's in Estonia, my right foot's in Latvia, and my costume and cuticles are in no man's land. Valga was suddenly a divided town. Checkpoints appeared, barbed wire fences were put up, and border guards manned the crossings. Friends and family members living on opposite sides of the stream became different nationalities, and for years had to go through lengthy customs and border controls just to pop round for a cup of tea. And the all-important railway station was now in Estonia. Direct services across the border came to an abrupt halt, but Latvian rail passengers weren't to be defeated. They diverted all their trains to an old station on the outskirts of town. And this is it, or was it, Valka station. It's nice but crumbling, not unlike myself. Finally, after World War II, the town was reunited, albeit under the oppressive Soviet regime. This lovely old station became redundant, and much of Latvia's railway network never really recovered. I was hoping to follow a narrow gauge branch line that used to arc from Valga 130 miles right the way across Latvia. But apparently most of that now doesn't exist. There's only a 20-mile little stretch left at a place called Aluksni. Oh, this is great, isn't it? I think this dates back to something like the 1950s, but they've obviously really looked after it. Hello, Yuri.
Hello.
Hello, Chris. Can I come up?
From Chris.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Thank you. It's only a little train, but it's got really steep ladders. Oh, I think we're going. We are going. But not necessarily in the right direction. Ah, carriages. Wouldn't want to forget those. Now you might think I'm here to have a lovely ride on a pretty heritage steam line, but I'm not. The extraordinary thing about this line is that this is a regular scheduled passenger service on a narrow gauge line that often uses steam locomotives. It runs a couple of times a day, 20 miles across Latvia to the town of Gulbene, from where I should be able to catch a train to the capital, Riga. It is a beautiful train, this, but it is very, very bumpy and extremely hot in there. One thing they have got on this train that I've never seen anywhere else in the world, this is actually powered by wood. There's a tremendous amount of forest here in this part of Latvia, and that's what they use. So instead of coal, these guys are just constantly pouring logs onto the furnace. It's great, and it's actually really nice. It's a really nice smell. This line was built in 1903. All over Latvia, narrow gauge lines were used to serve local communities, farms and forestry. At its peak, a third of Latvia's network was narrow gauge, but the world wars changed all that. The fact that they got a line like this running through Latvia today, it's actually something of a minor miracle. During the First World War, Latvian railways were taking vital supplies up to their troops at the front, and the Russians, as part of their war effort, converted Latvia's narrow gauge tracks to their much broader gauge. But then the advancing Germans arrived, ripped it all up and converted it all back to their standard gauge. Then between the wars, the newly independent Latvians changed the standard gauge back to broad gauge, only for the Nazis to change it back again in 1941, then the Soviets to change it back again from 1944. It's remarkable there's anything left at all. It's quite amazing and very impressive that amongst all this turmoil and world wars and changes of ownership, this little railway just kept running. And here in Gulbene, there's one more railway lover's treat. This may not look much, but I've never actually seen this before. The intersection of two different gauges of track. So you've got narrow gauge here, which is the one I've just come down on, and then broad gauge here, which goes from here to the capital of Latvia, Riga, which is my next destination. The problem I've got is that the timetable to Riga is a little bit sketchy. Latvian railways might be somewhat fragmented, but surely I can at least get a train to the capital. The trains to Riga only run about 6 times a year, and the next one's due in about 2 months. I think he might be waiting for the train to Riga as well. You've got a long wait, mate. My mission to cross the Baltics entirely by train isn't exactly going to plan. Rather than wait 53 days for the next train, I'm rolling into Riga by road. And after a long day, I think I deserve a treat.
Hello, how are you feeling?
It's lovely.
Are you ready?
I am ready because it's about to get lovelier.
Okay, let's start.
This is actually a bath of beer. And it's very, very good for me. Apparently, the hops and the various agents in the brewing process are very good for your health. That's why I'm doing this. So it gets rid of things like psoriasis, acne, gout, impetigo, stress, any rheumatoid problems. It lowers your cholesterol and it reduces your venous outflow. Not only do you get a bath full of beer, you get your own personal barmaid.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Enjoy a beer.
I will. There's plenty more. Do you know, I can feel my venous outflow reducing already. Oh, I smell like a brewery. Oh, on the bed now. Okay. Thank you. Oh, it's a bit... What's that? Hay? Ow. Yeah, I think they normally do this with donkeys. Oh, that's quite nice. Oh. Oh. Ow. It's day 4. Before I catch my next train, I'm going to meet some people to find out about the most extraordinary event in the entire history of the Baltic struggle for independence. I'm waiting for one of Riga's 175 trams. 174 are blue and white, but the one I want is red and gold. Oh, that's good. It look great. Here it comes. It's here. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you. Oh, morning. Ah, this looks like a friendly bunch. Wow. Oh. You don't get this on the Piccadilly line. But Latvia isn't known as the singing nation for nothing. This is in fact the Vanima choir. And yes, the key to independence was singing. Very good.
Thank you.
I've no idea what it was. What was it about?
It's about putting your sorrows behind you and looking forward to a better future, essentially.
Why do Latvians love to sing?
I guess it's because it's such an important part of our culture. At some point in our lives, all of us have been in a choir.
So what are most of the songs about?
A lot of them are patriotic, and it's just about our national pride, I guess.
And freedom from so many oppressors over centuries.
That too, yeah.
In the 1980s, the singing of patriotic songs became a rallying call in the Baltic people's struggle against their Soviet oppressors. It became known as the Singing Revolution, and on the 23rd of August 1989, exactly 50 years since the occupation began, something extraordinary happened. An estimated 2 million people linked hands in a single unbroken chain right across all three countries, starting from Vilnius in Lithuania, through Riga, all the way up to Tallinn in Estonia. It was a distance of over 420 miles, and it remains one of the longest human chains in history. It was called the Baltic Way. At 7 p.m. on that summer's evening, all three countries came to a standstill, united in defiance. 2 million people. And one of the 2 million was choir member Ivona Plauda. Can you remember, during the time of the singing revolution, what the feeling was in the country?
Yes, I remember this time. Un cilvēki bija pilnīgi pārliecināti, ka Padomju Savienībai bija jāsabruk, un ka viņi sabruks, un tas ir tikai laika jautājums.
Do you believe, in your heart of hearts, that you were actually going to succeed?
Yes. Mēs domājam, ka mūs pamanīs, kā Ķīnas mūri var redzēt no kosmosa. Tā es domāju arī šo cilvēku ķēdi. Mēs ar tādu domu, ka to pat no kosmosa var redzēt, ka pasaulē ir jāpamana, ka mēs gribam būt brīvi.
Can you remember standing there as part of this enormous human chain? What did you feel like? What were your emotions?
Tā kā sākumā bija satraukums, bet pēc tam sākām arī dziedāt. Vienmēr tas aizkustinājuma asaras. Nevar padziedāt, jo vienkārši balss aizlauž asaras. Lepnums un pārliecība to, ka mēs noteikti mēs jau esam brīvi. Nevis tas, ka būsim kaut kad, būs savu valsts, bet pilnīgi pārliecība, mēs esam brīvi.
Oh, very good. It's 5 o'clock on a sunny Friday afternoon. Time for me to get on a train to the seaside. Like a lot of these Baltic train services, this one doesn't seem to be very frequent at all. It only seems to run on a Friday night. But it is supposed to be a weekend party train, so it might be good. I think this might be it. Here we go. Party, party, party. Quite busy. Oh, these seats are really tasteless. Kind of party colours. We're off, and immediately we cross a spectacular relic of the Baltic's turbulent past, Riga Railway Bridge. It was was built by the Russians in 1914, but the Russians then blew it up in the retreat from Riga in 1917. Germans then rebuilt it, but the Russians blew it up again in 1941. Then the Germans blew it up again in 1944 as they were the retreating army. This new bridge was built in 1950 and so far nobody's blown it up. On this Friday night special, I'm heading down to the Latvian seaside resort of Liepāja, from where I'm going to head south into Lithuania. As this train only goes once a week, I'm curious to know who's on board. Hello. Hello, you two. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Do you speak English?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Good English. Are you Latvian?
Yeah, we are actually.
So, what are you... It's very bouncy, this train. What are you two doing? Where are you going now?
We are actually going to Liepāja to a music festival. So it's called Summer Sound. Have you heard anything about it?
No. Summer Sound.
Yeah, exactly. Sound of the summer.
Yes. Yes, I understood that. What sort of music?
There's actually a Latvian metal band. It's like
Latvian metal?
Yeah.
I bet that's pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Is it?
You should come. Yeah.
I may do.
How you thought about it?
I may come. Okay, thank you very much. A Latvian metal band sounds quite tempting, but then so does a nice hotel overlooking the sea, with the waves lapping below me, and a nice cold beer in my hand. I can picture it all now. Hello, taxi. Hello. Can you take me to the nicest, quietest hotel in town, please?
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, a long day.
Do you know, I had the weirdest dream. I dreamt that I spent last night in a prison cell.
It seems that I did.
Ноги вместе, руки за спину, прямо стоять.
This is Karosta, a notoriously strict prison used by every brutal regime from the Nazis to the KGB. It closed to inmates in 1997, but has since reopened its doors to, well, mugs like him.
Да что это вообще?
And me.
Where once prisoners would have paid anything to get out of prison, there's a peculiar, morbid breed of tourist now who pays good money to get in. It costs 17 euros a night. It's a bit pricey, and there's no Wi-Fi, there's no ensuite, there's no continental breakfast. But you do get shouted at by Soviet guards.
Руки где тебе? Руки где? За спину руки. Вот так. Шагай, шагай. Шагай, шагай, шагай. Вот.
Apparently no one ever escaped from Karosta. But as far as I'm concerned, I've served my time. I'm making a break for the border. Once again, I've been foiled by the lack of trains. The railway line crossing into Lithuania is closed. But I have finally made it to the seaside. Palanga is Lithuania's answer to Bogna, but also home to a fabled resource that has shaped Lithuania's fortunes. An ancient Lithuanian legend tells the tragic story of Jūrate, the sea goddess, who fell madly in love with a handsome young fisherman called Kastytis. But Kastytis, being a mere mortal, was deemed to be unworthy of the love of a goddess. So Perkunas, the god of thunder, killed him with a bolt of lightning and smashed Jūrate's palace into 1,000,000 pieces, many of which are still, according to the legend, washed ashore to this very day. Look, there's one over here. Amber. Some say this is what the pieces of the palace were made of. Others say these were the tears of Jūrate as she mourned her dead lover. Whichever story you do believe it, it's a fact that Baltic Amber is around 40 million years old. And this stretch of coastline produces more than 80% of the world's amber. And this water is really, really, really cold. Ah. Baltic Amber has been traded for thousands of years. It brought the Vikings here, and trade routes they established are now playing a key role in an independent Lithuania. This country is all about freight trains, and I'm at the docks to hitch a ride. Oh, God. I can't work out which one it is. I've got to make this train somehow. I'll ask this bloke. Hello, is this Viking train? This one, Viking train?
Viking.
It is, thank you very much, thank you. Yeah, with 2 minutes? Oh, 2 minutes. Hello. 1 minute. I think we're on the Viking train. Lithuania was the first country to declare independence from the Soviet Union in 1990. And located at a crossroads of major routes across Europe, it's turned the rail freight business into a cornerstone of its economy. So they are following the routes of the Vikings. They're basically going from the Baltic all the way across to the Black Sea. Hence, quod erat semperandum, this is a Viking train. So, Roland, how many wagons are you carrying behind? How many is that? 45. 45.
Yeah.
Do you know what's in the wagons? What sort of things do you carry?
Nu viską, ką galima. Karves, žuvį vežam, kompiuterį, buitinę techniką, naftą vežam, anglį vežam, viską, ką galima pervežti.
In the last 10 years, the Viking train alone has transported nearly 5 million tons of cargo. And tonight, it's taking me right across the country. How fast is the train allowed to travel?
90.
That's quite slowly. So this train's going to Odessa in the Ukraine. We're not doing that, we're only going to Vilnius, which is the capital of Lithuania. And we get another train from there tomorrow. And that's only another 8 hours. It's going to be a long night. On the final day of my trans-Baltic adventure, I've reached Vilnius, a beautiful city with a tragic past. This may look like a Holocaust train, but actually these are just some of the notorious Gulag carriages that Russian dictator Joe Stalin used to transport perfectly ordinary Lithuanians branded as anti-Soviet away from their homes, their families and their jobs to prison camps in Siberia. Usually the men were separated from their families and sent straight to the prison camps, while the women, the children and the elderly were sent to live in the various Siberian settlements. Conditions would have been horrific. People were just crammed into these carriages. There would be hardly any air to breathe and just these tiny windows covered in iron bars. If you close the door, then you get a sense of just how terrified you'd be. The journey to Siberia inside these cattle trucks took up to a month. Rations were pitiful, and in winter temperatures plummeted to -25. Many didn't survive the journey. Their bodies were simply left on the side of the tracks. Of the 300,000 deported, hardly any ever returned. After so many years of oppression, the Baltic countries are fiercely proud of their independence. On the final leg of my journey, I'm going to see an extraordinary railway project. It's nice, one of these double-deckers. A project that is uniting all three countries and changing their outlook on the world. I'm heading 65 miles west to the city of Kaunas, and from there I'll travel to the border to complete my Baltic crossing. This is nice. I bought this in Vilnius just before I jumped on the train. It's called the Scent of Lithuania. It smells really lovely. And apparently, wherever Lithuanians are in the world, it makes them want to go home. So I thought I'll give some of these to my missus, little dab behind each ear. See if she wants to go home to Romford. Like all the Baltics, the railway lines here in Lithuania have been pulled up and rebuilt by invading armies time and time again. And now it's happening one more time without the invaders. They call it Rail Baltica, and the plan is to build one continuous railway line right through all three of the Baltic countries, starting from Tallinn, 620 kilometres north from here, down through Riga to here at Kaunas. But it's not ending here. The plan is then to run another 469 kilometres southwest to Varsova, or as you and I would call it, Warsaw. The really interesting bit is that it's being built with European standard gauge track. In a region where the Russian railways have had such a massive impact for so long, it's a huge statement of intent. It's the first step in ripping up the old Russian railways and replacing them with European ones. It's going to cost nearly 6 billion euros and won't be completed until 2030. But they have opened the first section from here into Poland. Right, 1 minute to catch the last train on this epic Baltic journey. By tonight, I'll be in Poland. I've taken 8 different trains across 3 beautiful countries. I couldn't quite manage to cross the Baltics entirely by train, but it has been an amazing journey. And I've loved exploring these proud, resilient nations that are finding their place now in the modern world. This region has been overrun time and again through history, caught between East and West. But now the 3 Baltic nations are finally independent. They made this statement to the world by building the new railway on European gauge tracks. They are saying, we are with the West. Europe, here we come.